What is this whole idea of a people's constitution? And how can it help Nigeria out of our current desperate situation where insecurity has become the order of the day and the sanctity of human life is fast disappearing? Well, joining us now to have a discussion around this is a man who belongs to a group that thinks it can be done, Dr. Tanko Yunusa, National Chairman of the National Conscience Party and spokesperson of the National Consultative Front. The NCF Front, as it is more widely known, is a coalition of prominent Nigerians with notable background in politics and civil society. Dr. Yunusa, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the program. Dr. Yunusa, good morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Good
yes,
morning.
Thank you for joining us. Well, I mean, you are the spokesperson of the NC Front, and quite a number of people have raised concerns about the idea of a group of Nigerians insisting that they will come up with a people's constitution, whereas there is a process, a constitutional process, that does not cover this idea of a people's constitution. What is the justification for this intervention by the NC Front, and how does your front hope to ensure that your constitution can be adopted by the National Assembly?
Even by single definition of democracy, it says a government of the people, by the people, for the people. That on its own qualified us to have a discussion about our own country, where we feel that the country, as those who we voted for, are not listening to the yearning and aspiration of the people. It becomes very much in order for the people themselves to take up decisions and put it on the front burner for a national discourse. That is exactly what we are doing. And when you look at the problems that bedevil the country for a very long time, not associated only with this particular government, a lot of issues have been raised by different individual groups and even some people in governance. Now, the issues raised from the fact that each of the zones of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been crying foul play for some certain areas. It is in the South-South who have been clamoring for the issue of, resource control, or is it in the Southwest where they have been talking about true federalism with regard to policing and economic control and the rest of them? Or the North Central who have been talking about marginalization, religious differences and all. Or the Northeast where we're talking about infrastructural decay and the rest of them. Then the Northwest, of course, which are talking about with their teeming large population not being carried along or having enough impact in the society, as it were. So you can see every part of this country have had its own fair share of complaints, as it were. But the government of the day and the past government have not been listening to the yearnings of the people. Take a look back at some of the issues that have been raised in all of the constitutional conferences that have taken place. Is it the Abacha or the Jonathan Constitutional Conference? These documents are now gathering dust somewhere because people are trying to find solutions to the problems, as it were. And then those who you give the responsibility of governance to are not listening. So now the group now decided that, look, this may be the only way we can just force this situation down the throat of government. First, in a democratic way. In a democratic way where the people will have an opportunity to ventilate their own position, galvanize the people, mobilize them together to tinker and discuss about how they think they need to live, they want to live as a people, considering the government problems that we have. And if all of them can ventilate their problems and discuss it on a common ground under a citizens' conference, it will kind of reduce the pressure and the tension that we are already seeing in governance. And so we can bring this document out for the people and then those who are in government to look at, if possible, pass it through the constitutional framework of the National Assembly. And if it's not possible, then we will know that this is a document that we may use to seek for political power in the no-distance future. These are some of the issues that we have in our mind. And I'm so happy that every part of this country have shown interest in this particular People's Citizen Conference. And that is enlightening and very, very delightful news to me. Because some of the people I have conversed with have also shown interest into working on the Citizen Conference. Take a look at the people that are already saddled with responsibility of the committee. Persons like Revered San, Dr. Olisa Agbakoba, and then to be supported by Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed. These are people who have shown, who have proved they have a proven integrity, and they have already worked on several documents relating to this. So they will put together all of these documents and listen to the people and try to find a way in which we can now say this is a constitution that belongs to all of us.
Right. So you mentioned the not distant future. Are you referring to 2023? When you will now make the movement political? And also, do you have a timeline for the Citizens Conference? Around when are you thinking that it will be held?
Of course, we have a timeline. We've already put it in a public document, which is already flying. From now to June, we're working on the document and hoping that all of the people that we've already put into the committee will have moved and maybe must have come together and discuss. And in fact, we are trying to utilize the possibility of having technology where every Nigerian can monitor the activity of the Citizen Conference so that every one of them have an opportunity, northwest and southeast, to contribute to the document itself. So it will not be seen as if it's a document belonging to NCF or selected few. No, it's a Nigerian document that we are talking about.
All right. Let me just pick your brain a bit. What kind of consultation will go into this document? I'm saying on the macro level, on the level of somebody, the average pepper seller in the market in Lagos or Kaduna. You know, what kind of consultation? What will be the thought process put into all of this? Because, yeah, you said the People's Constitution. So how will he address the concerns of those people?
Exactly. When you want to, what you want to hear or you expect people will say from a common person on the street, he wants to be sure of how his child will be given an opportunity in your university without going through all of this rigorous position of quota system, whether he's qualified from one particular point, part of the country, or is he a Muslim or a Christian. As long as he's educated, how can he be educated? After he's been educated, how can he be employed? And he's employed, how can he sustain his livelihood? These are the major minimum thing. How can the life of every Nigerian be secured? How can I move from point A to point B without being afraid that I have to change my look or my dressing? Or how do I make sure that anytime I'm going out of this country, if I happen to go out of this country, I'll not be stigmatized against probably my own tribe or my own religion? Or within ourselves as people, how do we work together without really thinking that, no, he's a Yoruba man or a Hausa man or a Igbo man? These are some of the basic things that we need to take care of. We need to ensure that when Nigerians are employed, it's not something that they paid money for. As of today, Nigerians pay money for employment just for you to get employed. Can you imagine? You have to pay money for it. It's being sold in the open market. And these are basic things that we need to look at. The welfare of the citizens is paramount in our mind. We want to have a society that is egalitarian and sustainable by every person, where you will have confidence in leadership from the local government level to the from the councillor level to the local government and state, then probably to the federal level. Confidence building within the people, when people will feel that, yes, this is our country that I'm proud of. This is where that at any point in time, I will wake up and know that there's a stability in the economic system. Not when I wake up the next day, I will hear that the petrol price is being moved from 170 something or 140 to 212 naira. This is absurd. We are not working as a people. The system is not working for the people, and so the people demand will be listened to. We are asking that when the people speak, when they tell us these are their pain and pang, we can now provide solution to it on the minimum level that all of them will be happy about.
Well, Dr. Yunusa, you know, there is nothing new in all of this. I mean, since 1999.
That's right.
Many groups have been talking about a people's constitution. And the departure point is that the 1999 constitution is a military constitution by the effect of Decree 24 of 1999. Now, there was a group called Pronaco, which was led by Chief Anthony Enahoro. And in that Pronaco,
Enahoro.
Yes, in that Pronaco, there were ethnic nationality movements involved. There were prominent persons like Ben Waboize, Professor, SAN, Chief Emeka Anyanku, Chief Solomon Asemota, and quite a number of Nigerians, Professor Wole Soyinka. And at that time, they were also talking about the People's Constitution. And recently, this same group, Pronaco, advised the present administration to adopt the People's Constitution that Pronaco came up with in 2005 and presented to government in 2007. Now, what gives you the assurance that the same process that you are reinventing will be accepted if a similar effort in the past was not accepted by the Nigerian government, relying on the constitutional provision that says it is the duty of the National Assembly representing the people to come up with a people's constitution?
Learning from the past, this gives us an opportunity. That is why we have the committee in place, for them to look at the modus operandi and methodology of ensuring that this not become only a talk show anymore. We intend to make sure that this work at this particular period in time, and even at the end of it all, become a selling point for a political movement. If they do not want to make it work, there's an opportunity coming up in the 2023 that this particular document will be the deciding factor of who you vote for. Because if you agree, and then, of course, you may want to further your question by saying that the same political party who is in power also advocated for that. But the methodology is different in this particular case, because this is what you can hold us accountable to. This is what we intend to do, and that is what is our first point of call. Once we agree on a document that we say this is our document, it becomes the document that you can hold us as a social contract. You can hold us responsible to, and we all agree to it. And then we mobilize people and say, okay, we've already agreed, we have to make this thing work. After all, the people in the National Assembly are not far from us. They are Nigerians just like us, and they have constituency. And if the constituency say this is what they want, and the person that you ask to represent you refuses to, of course you know what to do. We will mobilize and say, look, then you are not fit to represent us. We are asking for everybody to be involved in this. This is the agitation of the Nigerian people. And if it's the agitation of the Nigerian people, it has to work. It's not about putting it under the carpet anymore. It's about the deciding factor of exactly what, because we have come to an irreversible conclusion that believing that this will have a far-reaching effect in solving most of the problems of Nigerians. Because if you agitate and you antagonize and you agree and you decided and you keep on postulating, demanding that this is what you want, this is what you want as a solution to your problem. And then you are being given that opportunity that, look, we have solved the problem, we've all agreed, and then we are going to put it to work. Then what else do you want? So that will solve most of the problems that we have in this country. And so I am very much convinced with the level of the commitment that I've heard from some of the leaders who have shown interest in this particular People's Conference, that it will work, as long as if it takes care of the yearning and aspiration of the Nigerian people cut across north, east, west, and south, without any bias. On that
note, we'll take a short break and we'll be back for more. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still with Dr. Tanko Yunusa, National Chairman of the National Conscience Party and spokesman of the National Consultative Front. Now, we can all agree, basically, that the 1999 Constitution has been a bit of a non-starter in terms of development. We've been hampered by it. But even though, obviously, you've talked about having a really broad consultation, a wide consultation, what for you personally would you like to see amended as a matter of urgency? That's my first question. My second question relates to the fact that all of this is obviously, well, to me, pointing to 2023. What ideological differences exist between your party, APC and PDP? Because I'm sure you know the general accusation with Nigerian politics is that it's not ideological based, it's all about who happens to be chums with who at this present point.
For me, number one, the most important issue is about the unity of the country. Most importantly for me is about the unity of this country, where every part of this country, irrespective of your religion, tribe, religious base and all, as long as you believe that wherever you stay, wherever you live, and you do your trading, you impact to economical advantage of the state or wherever, you are being protected by the law, and the institutions work irrespective of who you are and what you are. As long as every Nigerian is being protected to fly his trade and enjoy peace within his community is germane to me personally. And when you mention the issue of political party, the National Conscience Party is my party. The ideological difference is that while majority of them are leaning towards maybe somehow a capitalist system of leadership and government, mine is more or less onto the socialist aspect of it, if you're talking about my party. And collectively as a group, we have not come into a particular agreement of what we intend to do, but in terms of nature, we are mostly progressive in thinking, where most of Nigerians will be taken care of according to their needs, so that no Nigerian will live below the poverty level and then be crying foul that the economy is not working, there's no security, the corruption has eaten deep into our fabric and system. All of these are things that we really want to eradicate as a group and make sure that every Nigerian deserves to live peacefully with one another without any aggression or any interest, separate interest or hidden agenda, as it were, as we are seeing today.
I mean, so you see, so this is what I don't get about Nigeria politics. Everybody talks the good stuff. Everybody says they are progressives. You know, they want this to end, but you must have an ideological slant. Because when you ask the question and you answered it, it pretty much looked like another kind of APC to me, because you're saying in one breath, oh, I will be welfarist. And you're saying, oh, we want economy to move, capitalism, we want this to be able to move and all of that. But the truth is, you must take a particular slant. That is the ideology that will bring this forward. I mean, even if you are on the left, you will still tackle insecurity and all that. So I want to know your ideological slant. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the National Conscience Party comes down from, the fight and the advocacy of the likes of Ganifa Waini. So what will be your ideological slant? Because a lot of people are coming into this agreement and this marriage. And if people don't get it right, you just put the message out there, progressive, and there's going to be a lot of policy somersault. And that's why Nigerian political parties hardly get a very, very robust manifesto that shows their ideology.
You know that the documents of the manifesto of each of the political parties was derived in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Virtually almost all the political parties. Different in terms of believing that, okay, this is what you want to do. Unlike what you have in the past, where you have people who basically dwelled in the NPN who faces issue of housing and all, and the UPN who talked about education and the rest of them. In my own party, what we are talking about is abolition of poverty. Generally, some will say that it is vague, but our target is that the economic empowerment of the Nigerian people is paramount to us. How do we make the economy of the Nigerian people much sacrosanct so that every Nigerian has an opportunity to work, being employed and gain and take care of his sibling and family? That, in a way, can easily affect the economic system in the general terms. And so I am saying that in this particular regard, with regard to my own party, we have different political parties, different ideologies of people who belong to the NCF. By the time we sit down on the group to discuss about the committee will discuss, we'll come out with a document that is agreeable to everybody. Because if I would say I'm forcing my own ideological belief into the system, of course it may look as if I'm loading my own position on everybody. But for us, generally, what we are interested in is abolition of poverty and ensure that the economic system of the country works for every Nigerian. That is our interest.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yunusa. Unfortunately, we don't have more time. I would have loved to ask you a personal question, whether all of this is a way of you also preparing for your future ambition in 2023 as a presidential candidate, most likely, of the NCP. But thank you very much for joining us.